Schubert is one of history's most prolific and persistent composers, producing over 1,000 works before his death at the age of just 31. Even in his final 12 or so months, suffering badly from the chronic illnesses that would eventually claim his life, he pushed himself to produce what he termed more substantial works. The result was a rather imposing set of masterpieces: his great C major symphony, the F minor fantasy for piano duet, the cello quintet, the last 3 piano sonatas, and perhaps most stunningly, the song cycle Winterreise. What makes this even more remarkable is that these works were composed without the support of a patron or without the carrot of a guaranteed publishing contract. Many of Schubert's late works are filled with a sorrow and a pervading sense of melancholy. Even his closest friends were shocked by the sustained sense of gloom in his Winterreise. This is a work that depicts a heartbroken man and the tragedy of loneliness. These were to become typical romantic themes, but for 1827, the year of Beethoven's passing, just 20 years since Haydn's death, this was still very heavy material, particularly for a young man of 30. Schubert composed 2 piano trios, both in the same period as Winterreise, but surprisingly they contain little of the weariness and the sense of inevitable that was depicted in that work, and that he was facing in his own life. When Robert Schumann heard Schubert's first trio, he declared, "One glance at it, and the troubles of our human existence disappear, and the whole world is fresh and bright again." The opening is so cheerful, even jaunty, that it almost has a swagger of self-confidence. From this exuberance and optimism, Schubert moves into true lyrical mode. The slow movement is almost like a song without words. The themes are passed between the 3 players as if they're engaged in eloquent dialogue. And it's these beautiful melodies that take precedence. Schubert doesn't develop the tunes in any major way. Instead, he subtly changes the presentation of them throughout the movement with fine nuances of expression, harmony, and colour. In the other movements of this trio, one can hear how much the genre has developed since the time of Mozart and Haydn. Perhaps the most immediately noticeable thing is the writing for the cello. The instrument has moved from a role of support, but now it's given a far more prominent status. As in the slow movement excerpt we heard, Schubert treats the cellist to some beautiful melodies, much of it higher in the cello's register, adding further interest to the texture. Like most of Schubert's works, this trio wasn't publicly performed or published until after his death. It took 8 years for the work to appear in print. Later, in the 19th century, there was wider awareness of Schubert's work, thanks to the advocacy of figures like Schumann, Mendelssohn and Brahms. Publishers sought further works for publication, so posthumously at least, Schubert was given some of the recognition he deserved. One wonders what he might think and feel, knowing that since his death, he's become one of the most cherished composers of all time.